Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I'm making a layout for Bramble Fox. I'm using the goodies from the June Fox box, particularly focusing on not going out. And I'm also using a set called Let's House Party after a well-known app. So I'm using those two today on the same layout. I'm planning to use this rainbow paper. And I've seen it used in so many different ways. I was trying to think of a different way to use it myself. So I've decided to cut out all of the rainbow colours to a point, and then I'm going to roll the colours up a bit. So you'll see me do that in just a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut all of the layers with my scissors, and then I get to this point and I'm like, well, my top rainbow stripe's getting a bit thin. Not sure how well it's going to work. So I just thought I'd give it a go and see. So I'm rolling my pieces of rainbow around a paintbrush to get them nice and tight, but they still aren't tight. So I'm going to have to redo them and re-roll them and then stick them at the same time. So that's how I'm going to have to do that. But I'm going to do that in a bit. So I'm just going to kind of figure them all out, get them all rolled up at the moment, and then see where I'm at, see if I like it, if I'm happy. It was a bit of a gamble on this paper because if I didn't like it, then I was a bit committed at this point. So I'm just going to see how it looks and then fiddle around and work it out from there. So I decided that there was there were too long pieces to roll, and I had to trim them down a little bit, especially with the curve. That didn't help as well. So I had to trim them down a bit in order to make them less thick. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with how it's looking. I haven't committed yet and stuck anything down, but I'm going to go for it. And I'm just going to try and distress the edges. Now, I should have probably done this before I rolled, before I stuck everything. I haven't stuck anything yet, but I will do at some point. So I have just distressed the edges of the top and the bottom and the right side, and I'm going to get that stuck onto my layout. And this is the point where I realised that I probably should have distressed the edges of the stripes of the rainbow before I stuck them in place, but you know, I make it work. Right, so yeah, I'm fairly happy with how it's looking. It's a bit chunkier than what I was hoping for, but I will try and sort that out by rolling tighter and sticking it in place. So I'm going to use my hot glue gun for this. I'm also going to make my where the rolls are, they're going to be in different places. Right, so this is what I ended up with. So basically I have done all of my rolls. I've rolled them as tight as I could get them, and I've stuck them all with my hot glue gun, and they're really not going anywhere now. So I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. It's just a bit of a different way to use the paper, which is what I was aiming for, as I've seen it used in so many different ways already. It's a very popular paper, of course, because it's Maggie Holmes and it's rainbow. So yeah, very, very popular. So now I've got to work on the rest of my layout. So I've got my two photos down the bottom there, and I'm just pulling out some bits and pieces that might go nicely with it. So this layout is about my husband's 40th birthday. So very sadly, we were supposed to be going to Las Vegas, but obviously we couldn't because of the pandemic. And we obviously couldn't even go out and celebrate because there's no restaurants open, nothing to do. So we could have had friends over in the garden, but it wasn't quite the plan that we had. So also we had some illness in our house. I'm 99.9% it wasn't corona, but because we'd had some symptoms, so we'd had my two children had had a temperature, we were at this point, we were still on 14 days quarantine, so we really couldn't do anything. So what we did was we had an afternoon tea in the garden, just the five of us is five, not four, and then in the evening we had a virtual dinner party with some friends. So it was really cool, even though it wasn't quite the celebration we were hoping for. It was really still nice to get together with some friends and eat dinner together and play some games as well. And we had a really good evening, even though it wasn't exactly what we had originally had planned. He's quite happy about it because he says that now when I turn 40, he won't have to do anything for my birthday either. Maybe we'll go to Vegas then, who knows. Yeah, okay, so my photos are going to be in place at the bottom there. I'm happy with the way the bottom one, sorry, the right hand side one tucks under the bottom rainbow roll. I'm going to have the Let's House Party over on the right hand side on the yellow rainbow stripe. It stands out really nicely there. I always worry about using white perspectives on white backgrounds, but on a coloured background, of course, it looks really good. They stand out perfectly well. So that's what I'm going to do there. I want my not going out down on the bottom left. I could have saved this for another layout, but both the house party and not going out was so perfect for these photos that's what I decided to. I thought I would use them both on this one layout. So right now, the not going out, I want to back the word out, because out is an open alpha, and I want to back that on a piece of paper, card or paper. So I'm going to use a pink pattern paper by Maggie Holmes Sweet Story, and I've just put it on to the piece and I've drawn around it very badly with a pencil, and now I'm trying to cut it out, and I do a really bad job at this and it takes me ages to get it right. Basically, I should have used a mechanical pencil with a long tip so I could get round the letters perfectly, but I didn't have one to hand. I couldn't find one, so I had to use like a almost blunt regular pencil that you sharpen with a pencil sharpener. And it just did not do the job. So if you're going to try and attempt to do this, definitely have a mechanical pencil to hand and do it that way, because it's way easier than the way that I tried to do it, because then I had to keep trimming and it still didn't fit, and then once I'd stuck it onto the perspective I still had to trim it further, and then I trimmed it too much, so I had to put a little bit more on the back. So basically I had a complete disaster when backing this little word out, but I'm sure you'll do it much better than I would than I did. Okay, so I'm happy with how that is looking. That is the bare bones of my layout. I'm going to put the photos where they are, the two perspectives where they are, plus I have all the little hands from the house party one, because that's the logo, yeah, I was really, they're really cute hands. I thought I would put them in. We didn't actually use the house party app for this meeting that we had, the dinner party we had. We used a different one, but I just like the name house party because that's exactly what we were doing. We were partying in our house. So yeah, it worked really well, even though I didn't actually use the house party app. Okay, so now I'm working out what embellishments to use. So I'm just kind of going through my stash at the moment and seeing what I can find. You can see that I've already pulled out a couple of bits and pieces. So I've got I've got a strawberry and a yellow flower, although I think the yellow flower goes because I'm trying to bring in the same colours from the rainbow, but I also wanted to make sure that the icons that we're putting in place were kind of relevant. So bows and raspberries always are fine, or strawberries, that's always fine. Flowers are normally fine. So I was just going through and figuring out what else I could use. I'm going through the chipboard and the stickers that I've got, and the little rubber charms and the puffy stickers as well. So I had quite a few bits and pieces from this collection to use up. So I've got sugar, which is not particularly relevant, but it works just about. And then a blue bow at the bottom right. Now I was not sure about bringing in the blue colour, and that's because there's no blue in the background paper. but I thought I would go for it because there's blue in the screen on the photo, so I figured that it brings it together a little bit, even though the blue wasn't current in the paper. I've also pulled out a little lemon soda can sticker that's on the left hand side of the photo, and that works. That was a bit more of the blue, so that works okay. And then I want to add some embellishments at the top as well. So I've got my Let's House Party there, and above that I've got 40, and that's because that's his 40th birthday. That I wanted the number 40 to be on the layout somewhere, because obviously that's the main part of it. And then I thought I would embellish kind of colour on colour. So I've got the reddish bow on the reddish section and the pink 40 on the pink section, along with a little camera and a phone. I'm aiming for that. And then down on the green section I've got the green camera. Bottom right I've got the gumball machine, which works well because my husband loves sweets, so that works for us. Yeah, so now I'm pretty happy with how everything's looking. I'm probably going to add a few more bits. Oh, I've got some like peaches or pears on the ready section as well, with a megaphone that says magic. So yeah, I just kind of went through and worked out what works and what doesn't, and put everything in the right place. And now I'm committing and sticking everything down. So most things are already got adhesive on them, so the chipboard and the stickers, but I needed to stick down the rubber charms and obviously the perspectives too. So just doing that, and now I would like a sprinkling of little bits and pieces coming from my rainbows. So I've pulled out some puffy stickers and some small stickers, and then also some sequins, and I spent a bit of time sticking those in place. They took a while because there's quite a few of them. So you can see that I've aimed for colour on colour again, so the dark pink stripe has dark pink sequins coming out of it, and the ready pink stripe has ready pink sequins coming out of it, you know. So that's how it goes. And then at the top here I'm just going to write in my journaling, which with a really fine tip black pen, which reads, a 40th birthday during lockdown. Oh dear, we were supposed to be in Vegas celebrating, but instead we are at home, unable to go out due to the pandemic. We couldn't go out with friends, so instead we had a virtual dinner party and played some games. It was a really great day, just not quite the one we were expecting. And then I've got the date as well. So yeah, it definitely wasn't the one we were expecting, but we had a great day anyway. We made the best of what we had, and we will celebrate another time, I'm sure. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. That is my layout complete. I'm going to call that done, and I hope this has inspired you to use those perspectives. Make sure you head over to the shop to see all the goodies there. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. That was Nikki Rowland for Bramble Fox.